Would you be the jerk for refusing to do a DNA test? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my coworker I don't need to stop crocheting while on break because they're there? I, 20-year-old female, started to crochet again after a year's break, and I bring my projects to work and only crochet on my lunch or rest breaks, and I've been doing this for about 2 weeks now. Sometimes our lunch breaks line up with each other, and most of the time everyone's on their phone or in their own place. I'm usually crocheting and listening to a podcast or watching a video with my earphones in, and if someone wants to talk with me, I put my project down and take my earphones out. But if they don't, I'm working on the project. I got this one coworker, Mary, not a real name, mid-60s female. About 2 days ago, she came into the break room and I was already in there crocheting. When I saw her, I said hi and smiled, then went back to my project. She sat down and was on her phone. About 10 minutes go by and I feel a tap on my shoulder. I look up and I saw Mary, so I stopped crocheting and paused what I was listening to. I asked Mary what's up and she said it was rude to be crocheting while she was here. I'm surprised as she's basically always on her phone and watching videos without earphones, so you can hear what she's watching, which is usually Facebook Reels. I apologized but said I'm not stopping crocheting on my lunch breaks because she's there. She got mad and complained to my manager about me. My manager said I'm allowed to crochet on my breaks, but I should be more aware on how rude it can be to others. Some of my other coworkers are on my side, and others see Mary's view. I've been staying away from Mary at the moment, but I don't know. So, am I the jerk? Edit, thank you everyone for being so nice and giving some advice on my problem. To give a little background, Mary and I started or joined working basically on the same day. We've been here for around 2 months now. Mary's an okay worker, most of the time, but she can be a bit old-fashioned. For example, one of my coworkers goes by they, them, and Mary always misgenders them. I'm a little bit socially awkward sometimes, but I do get along with mostly everyone I work with. The break room is pretty small. It has one big table with about 8 chairs. Most people on break at the same time would be around 3 to 5 people, but I rarely have the same break time as Mary, as we both work in the same area. Plus, when I'm listening to something, it's always low volume and I have one earphone out. The only time I put both earphones in is if someone's playing something from the phone speaker. I'm sorry I can't reply to all of your comments, I didn't expect this much, but to answer some questions, I am planning to speak to the manager about this. I'll be working tomorrow with Mary, and I'll probably update if anything happens. Plus, crochet is quiet, uses one hook, as knitting uses 2 needles and makes the clicking clack sound. Plus, we work in a reception type of job, cafe and retail. I work at a museum. I hope this might clear things up. I am working tomorrow with her, and there is a high chance our breaks will line up together. So let's see how it goes, and I'll try to update you all. Update, this will probably be my only update. At work today, I was able to find my manager who was also with higher-ups, so I told them my side of the story and how I wish the manager handled better. The manager apologized to me. To be honest, I think she did it because the higher-ups were there, and later on my lunch break, I was in the break room crocheting, and Mary walked in. Now, I don't know what happened beforehand. Probably my manager and higher-ups spoke to Mary, but Mary apologized to me. Plus, just before I left work today, Mary's husband, let's call him Ian. Ian also works at the same place as I, as groundskeeper. He came up to me and apologized for his wife as well. But if she does try something like this again, I will go to the higher-ups. I'm Australian and I don't think we have an HR team at my job. Believe those reports go to management? By the way, I still don't know why she thought it was rude and I'll probably never know. Thank you everyone for reading this. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what Mary's problem is. I don't know why OP got treated or told what they did. Like, why would it be an affront to somebody if somebody is just the kind of person that wants to stick in their corner and crochet on their break? Like, we got some real 1984 stuff going on here if a company is going to try to dictate what peaceful, non-agitating, non-harmful, quiet activities you can do in the break room on your break. Don't you even start thinking about crocheting around here, you soulless and gaugeless crocheting heathen. Teeny Sod wrote, not the jerk. Mary totally is though. Crocheting on your break being rude is bull. I would go back to your manager and push back a little. Why would crocheting specifically be ruder than listening to something on your phone or having headphones in or whatever? The only thing I can imagine being an issue is that the movement is distracting, in which case, Mary can sit facing in another direction where your crochet is not in her direct line of sight. I would also point out the fact that she's playing her own stuff over her phone speakers, which is distracting to you unless you have earphones in. I crochet and tend to take easy stuff into work where I don't have to concentrate too hard on counting, which means I can talk and crochet at the same time. Normally, if people talk to me about it, they're expressing an interest, not telling me off about it. I suspect Mary is jealous that you can crochet and she can't. And given the sheer volume of free stuff out there to learn from, YouTube's free patterns, how-to text sites, etc., that is a her problem and none of yours. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, it would be amazing if you left a like or left a review if you're listening to my podcast. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not forgiving father after he stole my inheritance? It's 1999, my mom passes away from liver cancer. I'm 25 years old, single child, wet behind the ears and gullible. 80% of my mother's estate at the time, about $16,000, but we're not in the USA, pays out to me. My dad says due to my mom's deteriorating mental health, they never had time to change her will. The money should have come to him. Can I pay it over to him? I agree because one is supposed to trust your parents. Fast forward about 5 years and one brief failed marriage later, he finds himself a nice Russian bride. The dynamic changes and he badmouths my late mom at every barbecue, etc., and his new wife is the best thing ever. I move cities, get married, start a family of my own. We chat on the phone once a week or every 2 weeks, but we don't see each other for years, 8 to be exact. Him and the Russian bride come and visit once, borrow my truck to go to a big national park. I gave it to them with a full tank of diesel. I got it back empty with the light on. In 2023, he sold his house and moved to Russia with his bride. I'm not sure if he invested the house's money locally or if he moved it to Russia. I suspect the latter so that the bride has easy access to it when he falls over. My now late wife falls ill and passes away last year. I send a message to everyone after she passed away with all the funeral details and what happened. My dad's response, "Oh, now that's bad news." He doesn't bother flying in for the funeral service or anything. He messages me a few weeks later asking if she was cremated or buried? Like, what the freak? I speak to his sister, a highly educated PhD with many law degrees, etc. We speak about my mom's passing and the similarities to what happened to me. I mentioned the inheritance. She freaks out. She, being legally qualified, helped my mom with the will in the hospital before she passed away, as she knew my dad would be a jerk about the money. I confront my dad about the money 25 years after he swindled me out of it. He denies it, then tries to claim the amount was 10% of what it truly was, and with every lie, I bring out what I remember to be the truth along with evidence. Eventually, I tell him to never contact me again and stop answering his messages. He tries to message me once in a while, but it's more and more random. Turns out that it looks like he has early stages of dementia. A few months later, some distant family contacts us asking why I have no contact with my father because he reached out to them to talk and he seems lonely. We suspect the bride leaves him alone at home because with dementia, he's a handful and she doesn't want to deal with him. We tell them what happened and they understand. As time passes, his sister is now asking me to forgive him for what he did and to free my soul from these shackles, as she calls it. My reply was from the series Billions. Hate is nature's most perfect energy source. It's endlessly renewable. I have no urge to forgive him, but am I the jerk for not forgiving? So while OP could let it all go and apologize for whatever reason, I just don't really see the point. I mean, it obviously wouldn't be genuine. And even still, if OP did this warrantless apology, what actually would change? Cause I don't think anything would. Who Needs Average commented, not the jerk. He took advantage of you in a very vulnerable state. You don't have to forgive and forget that, especially since he has zero remorse. Anyone who can't understand that because he's family, I would ask if they would be okay with someone stealing $16,000 from them. Our next story is, am I the jerk for being offended over not being included in my family's matching I love you tattoo? Since my dad left my mom, sister and I have been tight. There for each other, you know? Some days ago, my mom and sister came home spontaneously with matching I love you 3,000 tattoos. I asked them why I hadn't been invited or included, and my mom snapped at me saying, "They're inspired by that dumb Marvel movie your sister likes. You wouldn't have wanted one." Hello? I love Marvel and have been collecting comics and memorabilia for years. It's what she gets me for my birthday and Christmas every year. I would have loved to participate, and that's what I told her. Then she changed her answer saying, "Not everything has to be equal and that's life. Sometimes you just don't get included in family things." There's this concert this weekend we're supposed to go to. However, I'm planning on staying home, much to their anger. They're telling me I'm overreacting. However, I just don't feel like going out with them right now. I don't know how to feel. I don't want to overreact. It's just a tattoo, but I feel bad being left out, especially since we've talked about matching tats for years. You know, if they came to OP and said, "It was just a totally spontaneous thing, we were just game for it and we went out there and got it, just spur of the moment," then I could see this being a passable thing, but it's that clear and blatant lie they threw in there that really screws this whole thing up. I mean, that lie they said was so out of touch and wrong, it rivals that other Karen from earlier that says crocheting on break is a rude thing to do. If two of the people I held most dear to me went out and got matching tattoos and then came back and said, "Oh, we didn't include you in getting our matching tattoos of fat stacks of cash because you aren't interested in anything like that," I'd be justifiably upset too. I want fat stacks of cash. Maybe not the tattoo, but the cash is nice. Many Worlds Media commented, "Not the jerk. Your mom's response was pretty dismissive of your feelings. Sometimes people do that when they don't care how you feel. But also sometimes people do that when they feel really guilty the second they realize their mistake, so they avoid it. I'm betting, assuming things are usually good with your mom and sister, that this was option number 2. Unfortunately, a lot of the time we don't get apologies for option number 2 because shame makes people act like jerks. So I would try and really sit with how you feel about this and determine what you need to move on, and then ask your mom and sis if they can accommodate that need. Make it tangible, like, can we plan a tat for all 3 of us that we'll get by a specific time? If it's option number 2 and you approach them calm and collected with your ask, it should go well. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my girlfriend if she's going to just throw what I make away, she can cook for herself? I, 30-year-old male, live with my little brother, 28-year-old male, and my girlfriend, 30-year-old female. And sometimes neither of us will feel like cooking. So when the other goes to cook, we ask them to cook for us too. It's a system that works out and not one that's abused. We normally cook for ourselves, but sometimes we also cook a big meal for everyone in the house. We also pitch in for the grocery bill. Most of what's in the house is for us to use, and specific stuff meant for just that person are marked and told in advance. Lately, when my girlfriend's asked me to cook her something that I'm making for myself and I wake up the next morning to find most or all of it in the garbage. I'm not a world-class cook by any means, but I don't burn my food or under-season it either. After the last time when she asked me to cook her something, I told her no, that I'm tired of seeing food wasted, not to mention the time I took to cook for her, and that if she's going to keep throwing food away like that, she can cook for herself. My brother agrees with me on the subject that the food waste is annoying and frustrating to see and it needs to end. Some of our friends agree too, while others are saying I should just cook for her anyways and calling me a jerk for letting her go hungry. Well, Reddit, am I the jerk? So if they just routinely don't eat any of it and they're just throwing away whatever, I think OP's not the jerk. If the problem is that they have just a little bit or whatever they feel is filling for them and then they toss out the rest, I feel like that just becomes a greater issue of trying to figure out portion sizes. But also, I just have to ask, why did the friends even get brought into this? Maybe I'm the odd one out, but is it normal to involve whatever friend group you have to figure out which side is right in an argument? Lizzie commented, not the jerk. Throwing away food that someone else made for you instead of putting it into a Tupperware is incredibly wasteful, and there's no excuse for her to be doing it. She can feed herself if she's so particular. Info, what is her explanation for throwing most of the food away after asking you to cook for her? Have you asked her about it? Is your house unfamiliar with Tupperware and leftovers? Our next story is, am I the jerk for asking my partner's sister to reimburse our flights after agreeing to babysit her toddler for a week? My partner and I agreed to fly out to watch her 1.5-year-old nephew for a week while his parents go on an international vacation. The trip's been planned for a while, and they asked her if we could stay at their place and take care of him while they're away. We both love the little guy and we're happy to help, but we're starting to feel a bit weird about how it's playing out. We wouldn't be making this trip if it weren't for the babysitting. We are in saving mode right now and weren't planning to travel, so we assumed, maybe incorrectly, that the parents would offer to cover our flights, since we're using our PTO and giving up a week to help them out. When my partner brought it up, her sister said she wished she had known sooner and that they're broke after paying for the trip. Now there's this underlying tension, like we were out of line for even asking. I've stayed out of the conversation myself. This has all been between my partner and her sister, but I'm supporting her and we're both starting to feel taken for granted. It's not about trying to make money off of the situation, but it's hard not to feel a little used when we're doing them a huge favor and covering our own travel just so they can go on vacation. Am I the jerk? I gotta be honest, I'm a little excited here because most of these stories I end up siding with the person who posted, but this is the one where I can finally say I think everybody sucks here. Communication, it's what it all comes down to. OP and their partner assumed. Most people know what assuming makes out of people. At the same time, when you find out the details of they took a flight to go out and babysit their kids and they're not getting any real kickback for it in any way, you kind of have to say the other side are jerks too. Barbara Millicent commented, "Everybody sucks here. I can't imagine asking my sibling to pay to fly in and take a week of PTO to watch my kid without any sort of reimbursement or compensation. That's insane. But also, this would have all been avoided if you had just asked before buying the flights. We would love to come watch nephew, but the money is tight right now. Will you cover the flights? And if they declined, you could have declined to come. You should never expect anyone to cover anything if it isn't stated. It sucks, and I know nobody wants to think that way about their loved ones, but it's how it is." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not telling my two best friends each other's secrets before they started dating? So I, 27-year-old male, have two best friends, a guy and a girl, who didn't know each other until I introduced them a few years ago. I've known them separately for a long time, and know a lot of their personal secrets, which they confided in me in trust. They hit it off after hanging out with me once, and eventually started dating. I was genuinely happy for them at the time. Fast forward a few years, and things went south. They both found out personal things about each other that I already knew, and now they're both mad at me. My female best friend had previously been married, and my male best friend is a virgin. He was furious that I didn't tell him, saying he never would have dated someone who wasn't also a virgin. On the flip side, she found out he's an adult entertainment addict, which was something he had confided in me, and she's disgusted by it. She says if she had known earlier, she wouldn't have gotten into a relationship with him. Now, instead of being upset with each other, they're blaming me for wasting their time by not disclosing these things up front. But I never told either of them the other secrets because I didn't think it was my place to do that. They trusted me, and I didn't feel like I had the right to betray that trust. Still, now I'm the bad guy in both their eyes. So, am I the jerk for not telling them each other's secrets, knowing well they would never date if they knew beforehand? OP's not the jerk. It would have been convenient for them if OP was Mr. Blabbermouth and told them everything, but if anything, in a perfect world, they would say, "You know what, OP, that whole relationship sucked and you could have made it so much easier for me, but at least I know that those lips are a steel trap." Pretty Scientist 848 commented, "Not the jerk, yikes, dump them both, they sound awful. They're looking elsewhere to blame the downfall of their relationship, which is 100% on them. They are responsible for communicating this stuff to one another, not you. You're not in their relationship. Honestly, I would tell both of them off and cut them off. But if you hang in there, I would tell them both it's not your place to tell anyone someone else's secrets, and from now on, you won't introduce either of them to anyone since they seem to think you are responsible for their entire relationship in doing so. But seriously, throw them out." This next story is, am I the jerk if I charge my girlfriend $1,000 for rent while I pay $2,000 plus? My girlfriend, 26, and I, 28, have been dating for 2 years. Now, we would like to move in. We're currently in SoCal, and living expenses is high out here. The amount that we're seeing for rent is about $1,800 to $2,500. I don't mind paying about $2,000 while my girlfriend helps with at least $1,000 or so for food, rent, and utilities. Now she's overreacting and saying how she doesn't want to have the pressure of studying and going to school, so she doesn't want to give the $1,000. Maybe $500? Regardless, am I the jerk for charging her? She's saying that other people are supporting their girlfriend without the pressure of bringing cash home. Further information, I got my career going, and she's going to school for nursing. Update, people are asking the same questions. She's in school for nursing, income is weird since she's per diem, she takes shifts at a nursing home based on availability. We discussed and she's willing to provide $400 to $800, not $1,000 that I rounded up. She will work maybe 1 or 2 shifts per week or every other week, depends on class schedules. I'm not in school anymore, I can afford to cover or provide for her. That way she can just focus on studies and we can reap the rewards later after she finishes. I think this is the right move. I just wanted people's insights on the situation. I mean, of course, I will provide for my wife or fiance, but we're not engaged yet. We are boyfriend and girlfriend, but we are in it for the long haul. Honestly, I don't think OP is the jerk, but I wish them luck on it all working out. I feel like it can probably work out, but it feels, I guess I would say, uncomfortably flexible right now. Very malleable, sensitive situation, something along those lines. Lions to Lambs commented, "No judgment, but it genuinely doesn't feel like you've planned this out. Neither of you is ready to commit $3,000 a month like this. If she was your fiance, that would be one thing, but she's not. Why would you burn most of your paycheck while she saves monthly? Outside of that, her statement, 'Other people are supporting their girlfriend without pressure to bring cash home,' would be a massive red flag to me. It's not us, but rather her money is hers, while your money is also hers. I'm not saying to break up, but I sure as crap wouldn't move in with her until after she got a job and was able to pay her fair share of rent and consumables." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not firing my nanny so my ex and I can share? My ex and I have 2 kids, 5 and 7. He has the kids every other Monday to Friday. Their school doesn't have a good after-school program. We let the kids go there if we're desperate, but I have a nanny and he has his mom pick up the kids most of the time. My ex has been extremely difficult with child support. We've been separated for 11 months and he hasn't given me a penny. After my ex and I separated, one of my kids' teachers recognized Jenna, saying she primarily worked with single parents and low-income families. Jenna told me her rate is $35 an hour if I wanted to only work for my family. I told her I can't afford that, so she offered a second option. She works for me, but she also does backup care or finds another family to work for. When she only has my kids, I pay her $25 an hour. When she has other kids, almost every day, I pay her $15. I also do some other work for her, like basic accounting, writing up contracts for the other parents to sign, and writing waivers for her driving the kids in exchange for the lower rate when it's just us. We're the only people she works with consistently, but she has a list of people that use her when their after-school care falls through for any reason other than contagious illness. She typically has extra kids at least 3 days a week, but usually closer to 4 or sometimes 5. She has a routine, she picks up all the kids, everyone gets a snack, she provides snacks unless the kid has an allergy or special diet. They head to the library, where everyone that has homework does homework, and everyone else reads or plays quietly. After homework, they go to museums, the community pool, splash pad, arcade, the park, events at the library, second snack, then parents start picking up, or she starts dropping off the kids. My ex's mom is getting to a point where she can't watch the kids every day, but my ex doesn't want a nanny that's watching up to 5 kids at a time. Jenna isn't willing to take multiple families on my weeks and only my kids on my ex's weeks because she would lose clients if she wasn't available half the time. My ex and I agree that it would be better for the kids if we had consistent childcare, but he isn't willing to try Jenna and I can't afford to pay more than what I'm currently paying. I've tried telling my ex that I will get another nanny if he pays for it, but if not, I will stick with Jenna. Now he's saying that I'm not willing to work with him for the sake of the kids, and I won't consider quality childcare because I'm not willing to pay more than $15 an hour. Now I'm wondering if I'm wrong for not getting a new nanny. I mean, I just gotta be honest, I don't think OP's in the wrong, and that nanny sounds awesome. I mean, just from the kids' perspective, if I had a nanny like that, I would bet that they're having a blast. I feel like it would honestly suck for the kids because I feel like the next nanny you find is not going to be that cool. Bacon, Egg, and Cheese SPK commented, "Not the jerk, assuming your custody or child support agreement requires that he arrange for his own childcare of days where he's responsible for the kids. Your childcare situation is great. There's nothing wrong with it. It sounds like you're getting an excellent service for a very reasonable price." Our next story is, am I the jerk for yelling at my neighbors and telling them to get divorced because their arguing keeps me up at night? I've been renting a house with my sister for the past year. It's great, and I like the area, but there's one problem: my neighbors. My neighbors are a family, and they're perfectly nice in our interactions, but the problem is that the couple will go to their backyard and start scream arguing every single night for like 2 hours. It's so loud that it causes both my dog and the dogs in the surrounding area to get riled up. On top of this, my bedroom is next to the area they argue at. It's been like this for 3 months. The cops have been called on them. I've talked to the husband about it. Nothing happens. I can't wear noise-canceling earbuds because my sister is disabled and I need to be aware if she needs me at night. 2 weeks ago, I would come home exhausted from a bad day at work and I just wanted to sleep in. At about 2 a.m., they start with their usual shtick, the wife shouting and the husband screeching, "I don't know," repeatedly, something he does a lot, and dogs have begun barking. The frustration of being tired and knowing I had to get up in 2 hours just finally made me snap. I opened my window and screamed, "You don't know, you don't know. If you don't know now, you won't freaking know later. So can you please freaking lunatics just get divorced already? And shut the freak up, please?" My voice was shaking and cracking from the volume. Well, they did get quiet, and it was crickets for the rest of the night. For the past 2 weeks, the nights have been radio silent. Whenever I see them while leaving my house, they avoid eye contact with me. Who can blame them? I feel really bad, but I was just so tired and frustrated and I just couldn't hold it anymore. I want to apologize, but my girlfriend's been telling me I just need to let it go and that I had every right to react the way I did, but I don't know. I just feel guilty. I want to say it's none of my business, but at this point, I unwillingly know about these two strangers' love life more than I know about my own mother. So, am I the jerk for how I reacted? I'm gonna be real and say just about anybody at that point in that situation are likely liable to do exactly the same thing. Maybe you could argue the "get divorced already" part was marginally crossing a line, but they really needed to sort their stuff out and not at 2 a.m. in a screaming match right outside OP's window. Spirited Lettuce 6900 commented, "Not the jerk, and having lived in apartments with screaming neighbors, I would like to present you with the Golden Megaphone Award for shutting those loudmouths up in one single session. Your girlfriend is right, and yes, you know more about them than your own parents, but you didn't snoop, they shouted it to high heavens." Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to do a DNA test to confirm if my father is the father of another child? For context, about 5 years ago, my mom came across a message from a woman claiming my father is the baby daddy to her 3-year-old daughter, and compared photos of her and I when I was around that age to show that we looked alike. However, dismissed getting any DNA tests after my father got incarcerated. Now I, 17-year-old female, and my mom recently came across a message tonight from the same woman again claiming my father is the baby daddy to her now 8-year-old daughter. Now that her daughter is older, she started questioning who her real father is. Now, this is the part that has me a bit skeptical. Her daughter does have the same skin color as my dad, however, every other feature is completely different. My dad has hazel, almost vibrant green eyes, while the mother has bright blue. My mother also has bright blue eyes, and my mother and father's genes resulted in central heterochromia in my eyes. This child has pitch black eyes. Usually, brown are the dominant gene to blue eyes, so how did pitch black eyes suddenly appear on my dad's side of the family? Their eyes are all very vibrant green or gray. Not only do the eyes get me, but the nose shape on both my dad and eyes are the same. However, this woman's daughter has a completely different nose shape. This lady is basically convinced that my father is her baby daddy, and even said tonight if my father wasn't willing to give a DNA test, asked if I would be willing to give a DNA test, yet hasn't even told us her name. I'm torn in between a decision, but my father is actively in my life, and I know that if he knew he had another child, he would also try to be in this child's life. Only thing is, she lives 2 states away. Getting a DNA test done would do what? get child support? She's financially stable with a husband and 2 other kids, so why now is she reaching out after 5 years? Reassurance is real, and I 100% support it. However, in that big time gap, what was the mother telling her daughter? With all of that consideration, I told her I wouldn't be comfortable giving a DNA sample. She told my mother that we're ruining her daughter's life by not allowing her to know her real father. However, I just can't believe her, as if this was my father's child, why didn't she reach out sooner? I'm not sure anymore. I just feel like a butt, but my gut just tells me something fishy is going on. So, am I the jerk? Update. Okay, so wow, didn't think this was going to get as much attention as it did, but thank you guys for your personal opinions and also informing me of my misuse of information. I've talked to my dad. He is aware that this woman has reached out again. My mom told him this morning and showed screenshots of the woman's messages. He's going to get the DNA test done and out of the way, but is also a bit skeptical because she hasn't perused anything legally for the past 5 years. I've spoken to some of my personal friends and family about what I should be doing, and it just hurts me that if this is my half-sister, I haven't been allowed to be involved with her. I'm going to talk more with my dad when he gets off work, but the next update will be the DNA test results. I'm just not sure how long that will take. Gotta tell you the truth, kind of wish I stumbled across this post 2 or 3 weeks later so I could get the full update. I'd love to know what the going bet is on this though. I'm assuming the majority would likely say not the father, but we just don't really know until Maury brings out the envelope. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.